Okay, so we are recording. My name is Kyle Cassabaum, and I am one of the counselors here at High School 1327. And today is an opportunity for me to go over some important things for sophomores to be thinking about at this time of the school year, and probably haven't had a chance to kind of get in touch with the sophomores yet. So we wanted to make sure that you all knew that we were still thinking about you. And then also with me today is college career specialist Lisa Newmeyer.
Hi, everyone.
And so I'm going to go over some stuff. And then once my stuff is over, then Lisa is going to jump in and give you an explanation of what the College and Career Center does, what the resources are, and all that kind of fun stuff. All right. So we're going to get going right now. So really one of the main purposes of this meeting, again, is just to kind of give you all a reminder of what are the things that we want you to be focusing on right now while you're kind of heading into the second semester of your sophomore year. One important thing to note is that once next semester starts, assuming that we are all back at school, the way that you will meet your counselor in the counseling office will be a little bit different. Typically, y'all run in and, fill out a pass and we send for you. Because we're trying to be very careful around COVID and social distancing, you'll set up an appointment with us via email. And then what we will do is let you know the time, let your teacher know. And then at that time, you will come directly to the office. And if you're one of my students, I have kind of an individual door, and if you are a student of one of the Mollies or Sheila, you will walk into a door and we'll give you directions on that pass. And then if you're coming to the College and Career Center, you'll actually walk directly in, correct? To the College and Career Center, right, Lisa?
Yeah, room 211.
Room 211. So it would be 215 for the Mollies and Sheila, 211 for Lisa, and then the funky little door right there in the hallway for me. And I'm going to put a big sign on it so you all know that I'm there. So a couple of main points. Really, when you're getting into your sophomore year, we're hoping that you are starting to advocate more for yourself. Obviously, there are times where it's important for your parents to reach out to us or your teachers, but we're hopeful that if you're struggling in a class or if there's something else that you need to check in with your counselor for, that you are letting us know and making that appointment with us. Some really kind of basic keys to being successful is, show up to class. Like, that's the easy one. I think, there is a famous person out there who said 90% of life is showing up. And, I don't know if that's totally true, but I think that there's a lot to be said about that. If you're there in class, it's just a lot easier to at least pass. Communicating for yourself. So if you're struggling in class, let that teacher know. If you feel like things are getting overwhelming, let your counselors know. For us, the important thing is, and we feel that if you are letting us know or letting your teachers know when things start to get difficult or when things start getting overwhelming, that it's going to be really hard for you to slip through the cracks. It's going to be really hard for you to get to fail if you're letting us know ahead of time. So know those people on campus that are here to help you. So, that's the folks over in wellness, that's your counselor, that's your teachers, that's your assistant principals. So please make sure that you are checking in with those people that are there to support you if you feel like you're running into some issues. Some other things that we want to remind you all is that right now does affect some long-term options, right? So if you are struggling in classes right now and you end up not doing so well with your final semester grades, that'll affect some long-term options. if things don't go well, it's as sophomores, it's never too late to fix those things. So I don't want you to stress out about it, but I want you to know that there is purpose to what you're doing right now. Aside from the important things that you're learning, uh, the work that you're doing right now is going to provide you more or less options when you're graduating from college or graduating from high school and attempting to either go to college, community college, or do something totally different. We want to make sure that you're aware that what's happening now is going to affect that. Um, so some important things about that are, as far as graduating from high school, as long as you have a D in all of the classes that are required, you can graduate from high school with that. Obviously, we expect you to do better, and we hope that you expect yourself to do better. But those Ds will allow you to move on and graduate from high school. If the plan is to go to a four-year college when you're done with high school, or at least have the option to, then you need to have a C or higher in all of the required classes. So to go over the requirements and what the required classes are for high school and college, you can just check out the counseling website. You can also check out the college and career website, and the requirements are all posted there. If you had any Ds or Fs from freshman year, please let your counselor know if that you'd like to have those made up and you'd like to work towards making those up. And we can work with you on different ways to do that. Okay, so there's a couple of different roads we can take to make those classes up. It doesn't have to happen right now, but it is something that we would want to start talking about, especially if you want to have the option to apply to a four-year college when you're done with high school. Big things to remember as far as requirements go: foreign language, so Spanish, French, or if you're doing something at College of Marin like sign language or Italian, those are required to apply to college, at least 2 years, but they're not required to graduate from high school. So if the intent is to go to community college right after high school, or if the intent is to go directly to the workforce or do some sort of trade program like auto mechanics or maybe like IT type stuff, then you might not ever need to take a foreign language. So we recommend that everybody does it, but there are situations where it's not as crucial. So definitely ask your counselor for that, about that. A couple of other things that I want to remind you all of is that sophomore year, you're not even halfway through it yet. So it's not too late to do things that you maybe would have liked to have done your freshman year or this beginning of your sophomore year, but haven't gotten into yet. So this is clubs, sports, music, drama, anything like that. I mean, there's a ton of great things here on campus that you can get involved in. Mock trials, another one. So reach out and try those things. I mean, I know that it's been somewhat limited due to the circumstances that we're in, but those opportunities are still out there and they will continue to be. Want to give you all a reminder of College of Marin. So College of Marin, our local community college, they offer classes to our students for free. They're all going to be online for the rest of this school year. Students also take them during the summers. What's great about those classes are they give you an opportunity to see what a college class is like. You get college credits now for free. So, say you take sociology at College of Marin, that's a class that almost anyone can use for undergraduate credit once they're in college. And you would get that done for free here at College of Marin. So I would take advantage of that. And, on top of it all, it's a great extra thing to put on your college applications if that's something that's important to you. If you are interested in internships, Greg Davison is our school to career specialist. He will help you with internships. His email address is gdavison@tamdistrict.org. His email is up on the counseling website as well. So if you're interested in looking into internships, you need help building a resume, whatever that is, he's somebody that can be helpful with that. So These are all things that we think are important for you to look into. What we've found generally is that our students who involve themselves in school extracurricular activities or extracurricular activities outside of school, like dance or karate or whatever it is, generally do better in school. So definitely take advantage of those things. And if you're looking for something to do outside of what your regular interests are, or you're trying to, find something new to participate in, let us know, and we'll kind of give you some ideas and explore that stuff with you. A lot of students are asking about ACT and SAT and all of those tests that usually are required for colleges. Some colleges are no longer going to require those tests. Once the pandemic is over, some colleges will start requiring those tests again. So it's really hard for me to give you specific advice on the SATs and ACTs right now, because we just don't know what's going to be required and what's not going to be when your class is actually applying to college. So with that being said, Lisa Newmeyer does offer practice ACTs and SATs, which will be available to you next semester. Lisa, do you want to add anything on that regard?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yes, I do. There's actually an event coming up the week we get back from break. It's December 3rd at 5 o'clock, and it's for sophomores and juniors. And I was actually just trying to pull up the event to get the official name of it, and I'm on the wrong page. But it's basically every year we bring an expert on standardized testing, the test that colleges require, and they come and they give a presentation to sophomores and juniors. So this one will be over Zoom. I will send another reminder email out when we get back from break, but that is a really good event to come to just learn everything about those tests. And they'll even update us on how colleges are approaching those tests. So they really are the experts in the field. So if you guys can put that date on your calendar, December 3rd, 5 to 6 p.m. And it's for sophomores, juniors, and their parents.
Thank you. So again, we are hopeful that that colleges will continue to not require ACTs and SATs after all of this is over. But the assumption is that a lot of colleges at least will start requiring them again. One thing to consider and always keep in mind, and you've got a ways to go before this is really important to start thinking about, but I always want to make sure that students know that the junior college option, such as College of Marin, is still a really great one. And what that is you spend 2 years at a community college, 2 years or more. There's 2 years basically worth of requirements that you would need to fulfill. But after those 2 years, your options increase dramatically as far as being able to get into four-year universities. So if you did 2 years at College of Marin or a different community college, and you've always wanted to go to UCLA or Cal or UC Davis, whatever, your opportunity to get into that school becomes a lot higher than it would be applying straight from high school. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is those 2 years are incredibly less expensive than doing the first 2 years at a four-year college. So you save a lot of money, and it gives you some more time to really kind of think about and consider where you ultimately want to go, or ultimately what you might want to study and all of that good stuff. So there's a lot of really great reasons to go to community college. And there are many now that have dorms and live-in situations. So, that kind of freshman college experience that some folks don't want to miss. And that's why, they really want to go to that four-year college straight from high school. There's opportunities to still have that too. So that's something that we'll continue to talk about more. And then one last thing before I get into Naviance, I just want to give you all a reminder that in the spring semester, so sometime in January, we will be doing more of these meetings with sophomores to really go over your scheduling for junior year. Obviously, when you go into your junior year, you have a lot more options as far as AP classes, electives, and all of those kinds of things. So we make sure to go over how all of that works, what all of the different options are, and all of that fun stuff, and give you plenty of opportunities to meet with us and really go over those things. Because more often than not, the sophomores have the most scheduling questions out of any of the other classes because it is such a big change from what you're used to. So that is all coming. Right now, I am going to share my screen and I'm going to go over Naviance. So if you don't know your Naviance ID and password, it's something where you can email myself or whoever your counselor is, or also Lisa Newmeyer, and we can reset your password and get you set up on that. I know many of you have jumped in there already, but there's probably a lot of you who haven't. You can get to Naviance from the student section of the High School 1327 website. And again, if you're having a hard time logging in, just let your counselor or Lisa know, and we can help you get it. So there's a certain chunk of tasks that we like students to do. And this is what the Naviance homepage looks like. So if you are a sophomore, there are a certain amount of tasks that we think are helpful for you to do in sort of your high school development and developing things that might be interesting for you to study or pay more attention to, and also just kind of get a little bit of an early start of what that college search looks like. So the first task, or two of the big ones, are here in the career section. So you would go to, or you can get to them through careers or about me. I'm gonna go to them through about me. So when you go to about me, and then you go to my assessments, there are two here that we think are really great for sophomores to do. One is Do What You Are, and the other is the Career Interest Profiler. The Do What You Are is a really cool survey, and it doesn't take you very long. There's a daunting amount of questions when you see it, but they're really quick. You bust through them really quickly. And the Do What You Are kind of gets a sense of what your personality type is. And once you do the survey, it kind of lets you know what your personality type is and gives you an explanation of that. And then it gives you a number of careers that they think you might be interested in based on that personality type. And what's really cool is when you click on those careers, it lets you know how much education you need for each one of them, how much money you can make for all of these, and what's sort of the day-to-day routine of that career, what you would want to major in college, and also things like what are some other careers that are somewhat similar. So just to kind of give you an example, when I was in grad school and learning how to do these kinds of surveys, the careers that came up for me, number one was special education teacher. And there was another one in there like psychologist. They were all things that were pretty similar to what I was in grad school for. And then there was another chunk that were all pretty similar to what I had majored in college. So like screenwriting and filmmaker or broadcasting. I was a creative writing major and film minor in college. So it was just interesting. Like I did this personality type thing where I didn't talk at all about being interested in film or wanting to work with teenagers, but all of these things really came up. So it's just kind of interesting to see that that they did get me right in a lot of ways. Flight attendant was also on the list, which is not something that that I have pursued, but they also want to make sure there are careers on there for if I wanted to go to less school, right? Like they wanted to make sure that there's careers there that you can do right out of high school, or careers that you could do right out of college or right out of grad school or whatever, okay? And then career interest profiler is somewhat similar, whoops. So again, about me, you go to my assessments and then you click on career interest profiler. This gives you a code of what your main interests are. And then it also gives you a list of careers that might be, might fall into where your interests lie. So what's really cool about that is You can look at the careers from your career interest. You can look at the careers from your personality profile and see what are the things that overlap. So maybe there's some things in there that show up in both, and those might be things that are really worth doing some more investigating and looking into. Something else in About Me that we think is really great to do is you would go to My Stuff and then click on Resume. So a resume is generally one sheet of paper or sometimes a page and a half that lists all of the work you've done, all of the volunteer work, any internships, maybe sports you've played, all of those sorts of things. Another thing about a resume is they're a total pain to do and start by yourself. The formatting is challenging because you're always hitting tabs and bullet points, and you're having a really hard time thinking about what you might want to put in the resume. What's great here is it actually helps build it for you. It lets you know what are the things that you should be adding to the resume, and it also gives you different ways to format it, and it'll format it for you. And then once you have the resume done, you can print that out in Word or PDF or whatever it is that you want to print it out as. If you're applying to any kind of jobs right now, if you're a high school student with a resume that you can give the hopeful employer, that's going to give you a little bit of a step above other students because not all high school students have resumes. It's also just a really thing to keep track of because by the time you get to your senior year, and you're filling out college applications, you're going to have everything that you've done right there because these applications ask you for extracurricular activities and all those kinds of things. So this is a good place for you to go and sort of remind yourself of all of the things that you've done. So we think having a resume is something that's really important and really helpful. The last thing that I'm going to show you in here for right now is under the colleges section and under Find Your Fit. And it's the super match. So what the super match is, it's a survey that you can take that you put in a bunch of information, it asks you questions, and then it spits out a list of colleges that they think might be interesting to you. Now, remember, it's not the be-all end-all list, just like the career ones, but it's something to start with and start giving you some ideas of some schools that maybe you want to start researching or maybe allows you to see kind of like what types of schools might be options for you or what types of schools you think that you might want to get to know a little bit. So I'm just going to go through it super duper fast because ultimately I want you to go through there and put in your own information, but it asks for location. And so you would want to tell it what states you would be interested in going to college or what regions, right? So we'll say here California and maybe Oregon, and maybe Washington, right? Just for the heck of it, I'll put in those 3 states because they tend to be popular amongst our students. Then they want to know, do you want to be in a large city or no? Or do you want to be in the middle of nowhere or no? Some students have preferences around these things. So I'm just going to click a couple of them here. Then they want to know a little bit about academics. So what are we looking for? So right now, for the purpose of this, we're looking for a bachelor's degree, right? You can search for community colleges in here too by clicking on bachelor or associate's degree. Then they might want to know what sort of major you want to do. Most sophomores don't know yet, but if you do know for certain that you want to go to film school, then great, you can put in film school. And then if you want to search minors, you can. I have to keep moving the Zoom box around so I can see my way around the page here. And then it asks you for a GPA. Right now, this is a fake student's account. So for the purpose of this, I'll just put in 3.6. And it asks for an SAT. Obviously, you don't have that yet. And most of our seniors don't either because a lot of them weren't able to take the SATs last year, but we'll keep that in there for now. And if you want to put in the acceptance rate of the college or any of this other information, you can do that. We generally say, if you don't really know the answer to one of these questions, or if it's not something that really matters to you, then just leave it blank. If there's any organizations or clubs you're interested in, you can put that info in, or if it's really important that you have fraternities and sororities, you can put that in. So just basically go through the criteria. This is pages about diversity. So if that's something that's important for you when picking a college, you can put in that info. And then right now we're just going to look at four-year universities. And let's look at very large schools, and mid-sized schools. All right, and then cost, I generally say, leave that kind of as is, because we can start figuring out cost stuff later. All right, and if you're looking into playing a sport, you can put that in as well. And so I'm just going to close it right now. And so it gives you a list of schools that they think you might be interested in looking into. University of Oregon is a super popular one amongst our students. So I'm just going to put that in there for now, just to kind of give you a sense of what this page looks like. So the first page here gives you a lot of general information about the school. If it's a school that you're interested in, you would click that little heart, and you can add it to colleges I'm interested in, which you find right here, or colleges I'm thinking about. So that's a good place to kind of like keep your initial list of schools. And we'd like you to add a few schools to that list, even right now. But this first page, it's just a lot of the general information: cost, graduation rate, sense of when the deadlines are for applying, all of that kind of stuff. Upcoming events. Studies, you would click on bachelor's degree, and it gives you a list of all the things that you can major in. This list of majors isn't as specific as the list of majors that would be on the college's website. So if you're interested in film studies, look at the school's website ultimately and see what their film major looks like, because theirs might look a lot different than, say, like Chapman's or University of Arizona's or whoever else's. And when we keep going to student life, this gives you an idea of what the demographics of the school are. Female versus male, another female-dominated college. They pretty much all are these days. And then also down here at the bottom, what are the different organizations and clubs? What sports do they have? All that kind of stuff. And then really lastly, another one of the big ones here is admissions. This chart lets you know all Drake students over the last 7 years. 7 years, right, Lisa?
Actually, we're up to, what, 13 years now?
13 years.
2007,
okay.
Yeah.
So these are all Drake students who have applied and either got accepted or did not to University of Oregon. Now, we don't know about sports. We don't know about extracurricular activities or anything like that based on this chart. But in terms of grades and test scores, this gives us a pretty good idea of where you would stand. So all of these red X's are students who did not get in, and all of these green checks, we've had a lot of success with Oregon, are students who did get in, but you'll see what the GPA and the test scores are of each of these students. The purple dots are students who were put on the wait list. But there's a whole key down at the bottom of this page that lets you know what all of those different things mean down here. And then the last tab here is cost. And again, I'm giving you, a really quick overview of this stuff. There's a lot more you can play with on there. I got out of the shared screen. Am I out of the shared screen?
You're out of the shared screen.
I'm out of the shared screen. So anyways, I meant to click on cost, and that will give you a look at what the school costs. And you can also put in family income, and we'll let you know what kind of financial aid you could get through that school based on what your family makes. So those are the tasks we would like you to do. Those are the main points that I want to go over now. Know that if you email your counselor, we are here to set up meetings with you. We are here to check in with you. Please know that we're still here to support you, even though we're not here on campus. So make sure you're letting us know if there's anything that you need. And with that, I'm going to pass it on over to Lisa to give you an intro to the College and Career Center.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, actually, ironically, Kyle and I are both in our offices today, but you all are not here. We wish that you were. The first thing I wanted to start with is just to let you know how students work with me directly. Because I'm not a counselor and I don't have an assigned group of students that are given to me when they start our school. Basically, anyone that wants to connect with me, wants to get some help from me on anything, they would just have to initiate that contact. In the remote world, that means sending me an email, basically. So I just want you to know that that's how you would connect with me. I do primarily work with seniors the most because of my title, College and Career Specialist. The main folks I work with are the students who are actually applying to colleges. So right now it's a very, very busy time. I'm helping seniors complete their college applications, help them with their college essay, help them apply for financial aid and scholarships to help pay for college. So yes, seniors are the ones that I get to know the best, but I am a resource for all students. So at any time throughout your career at our high school, you can contact me and connect with me again to get any kind of help that you need. And I do have a presence through our school's website. So I do want to show you a couple of things there because I put a lot of time into that and there's a lot of resources there. And so I want to make sure that you know how to access them. So I am now going to share my screen. And first I'm just going to bring up, I have two monitors. So is it showing, Kyle?
It is.
Screen? Okay, perfect. It's on my different device. Okay, so this is just our main school's website, right? I just want to show you how to get to my section. So if you go under the Academic Resources tab, the fifth one down is College and Career Center. Click on that, and here's an overview of what kinds of stuff I do, how I work with students, what kind of resources are actually in the College and Career Center, my hours, and then I have all of these links over here on the left. So at some point, I want you to get familiar with this website. You'll probably be using it a little bit more starting your junior year, because that's really, I would say, when things really kick into gear for students really thinking about the college piece. Like there's a junior college planning calendar over here. I do have some information about standardized tests, things like that. So I just wanted you to overall know that I do have a presence on the website and that there's a lot of resources there. One of the big things that I do is I connect with college admission representatives and bring them here to campus. Obviously that couldn't happen this fall, but we did do it actually remotely. So they weren't physically here, but we had a lot of sessions. Ironically, the timing of this video, things are starting to slow down. So I'm going to show you my events page, but there's not a whole lot on it because it was really busy in September and October. But now things are just starting to quiet down as we get to the holidays, and then it'll pick back up for sure next fall. So over here in the top right-hand corner, if you click the events page, and hopefully all of my pages are loading, you'll see different events that are happening. So the thing that I talked about earlier, the testing event, again, it's Thursday, December 3rd at 5 o'clock. It's actually called Navigating College Admission Test. And again, it's for sophomores, juniors, and their parents. And it's a thoughtful and pragmatic discussion of college admission testing. And on this page is where you will find the link where you need to pre-register for that event. So knowing where my events page is really important because very often if it's a Zoom session or anything like that, that is where you'll find the link to be able to join those programs. I also got word that there's a virtual gap year, some virtual gap year events that are happening starting November 30th and for that next week. And that a gap year is where students take time off after high school to either travel, work, do community service, volunteer. Sometimes that's out of the country, sometimes that's staying here in the US. Our school used to host an in-person gap year fair every single spring. We don't know if that's gonna happen, so they are scheduling at least these virtual events. So if you wanna learn about a gap year, if that's something you've thought about, you are welcome to attend any of these sessions that are here listed on my events page. And then as far as colleges, there's only 2 colleges actually currently on my list of events. One is the Tuesday when we get back, and that's being put on by the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise. And they're doing a workshop called Behind the Design. So that's described there. If you're interested in anything creative like that, in the creative fields, that might be a cool session for you to go to. And most of our events are after school. Sometimes they might be before school, they might be during lunch, they might be during tutorial, but they are usually at times when they're accessible, and hopefully if you're interested, you can just go ahead and do that. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to show you, and hopefully I'm back on my home page again, I wanted to show you some other resources that you probably will want to access even before senior year. And that is that I get a lot of information, a lot of emails from folks out in the community that have events that they want high school students to know about. So some of that is volunteer opportunities. So I did create a new tab this year, and it's down here again on the left of my page, kind of way down at the bottom, and it says volunteer opportunities. And basically what I've done is if I receive an email where folks in the community, again, are looking for high school students to volunteer, I will copy and paste the email and put it here under that link. So if that's something you're interested in, I don't even know what the requirements are anymore. I don't know if our school has requirements. That's kind of not my avenue, but I will tell you, it looks good on college applications to get involved in your community. I'm not saying that's the reason you should do it, but a lot of our students are very engaged and they do want to participate outside of campus and give back to their community. So if that's something you're looking for, this is always where you're going to find the most recent thing. And then all you have to do is just, again, click on whatever the email is. It tells you, I literally cut and paste the email that I received. It tells you what the name of it is. It tells you a little bit more about what the program is, if there's a deadline to apply, if there's an application, a deadline to apply, or when the actual volunteer event is happening. So I wanted to make sure that you all knew about that resource here. The other one that was right above it is the summer and gap year program. So I talked a little bit about gap year already. There's like some events coming up, but up above on the top of this page is summer programs. So I also receive a lot of emails from people, both locally across the country, who have programs for high school students to do during their summer break. It could be academic related, it could be creative. There's any number of things that happen. So I did create a page again where I am going to post those kinds of opportunities. So if you read here on this page in the second paragraph, it says click here, and then it brings you to, again, the emails that I received. So I just want to make sure that periodically throughout your whole time in high school, that you know that those two resources are there. I don't send them out in a blast email. I'm trying to really be conscious of how many communications I sent out to our students. So instead of blasting it out in an email, I put it here on the website. So I just want to make sure that you know about those areas. And then I know Kyle talked a little bit, we talked a little bit about practice test. I do have a whole section on my site about testing. And this particular page is what's happening this school year. We had 3 tests actually this fall for juniors. And then starting next semester, the first date is February 27th. That's where sophomores and juniors can keep trying these practice ACTs or SATs. The only hiccup is that we do need sophomores to be enrolled in advanced algebra. So I know some of you are there, some of you are not there yet. We're not trying to penalize the students who haven't made it to that level of math yet, but we want you to know that these tests are geared towards juniors and seniors in high school. And so the level of math that is on these tests is a higher level of math. So a couple of years ago, we put in the restriction that even though we want sophomores to start exploring, we want them to be in a higher level math, because we don't want you to take this test, do poorly, and then be very discouraged and feel like you're not smart or you're not college material. It's nothing like that at all. It's just you haven't had the math yet, the level of math. So if you are a sophomore in advanced algebra and you are interested in exploring these tests, you have 2 opportunities next semester, February 27th and April 24th. Right now, I'm just going to assume those are going to be done remotely. If it is safe for us to do these practice tests in person, which is how we always used to do them, then they will be held here on campus in different classrooms. So you'll get a lot more information from me as we get closer, but if you would like to check them out and you're in advanced algebra, you are more than welcome to do so. The other thing that I am involved with, and some of you have already contacted me, is I do work permits for students. So if you are under the age of 18 and you end up getting a part-time job, then you need what's called a work permit. And actually, I do have a page even over here. So hold on, I'm going to share that again. Actually, let me pull it up first and then I'll do it. So on that long list of links on my section of the website, somewhere down there, it says how to obtain a work permit. So now I will share that screen. There it is. So it's a two-step process. Well, really a three-step process. You need to get the job. That's step one. Then you end up doing, there's a link here to the first form, which is basically a request for a work permit. And that's where you're going to put your basic information, your name, your birth date, your social security number, your mailing address, and a parent has to sign that form. And then there's a section about the school, which is already filled out. And then there's a section for your employer. So whoever hired you, we need someone from that company to sign it. And we need to know the name of where you're working and the address of where you're working. Once you have that form filled out, you can either scan it to me by email, and then I will use that information and put it on the official work permit form, or I have made some arrangements to meet with students here on campus. Remember, we're only allowing you guys at this point, I believe, to come after school, and you are supposed to have an appointment to show up on campus. So you would just communicate with me through email that you need a work permit, and I'll make sure that you get set up in that way. And then I know that Kyle did talk a little bit about Greg Davison. His office is right behind me. He's the school to career liaison, again, helping students mostly with internships, but he can also do a mock interview with you. He can also help you with your resume a little bit. He does primarily work with juniors and seniors, but he's a resource just like I am for all students. So you can always email him sooner than that if you have any kind of questions. And there is some programming, I believe, coming up that we're going to be communicating about through his office and different opportunities to get some real life experiences and things like that. So I think that is mostly it for me, Kyle. Cool. I will stop sharing my screen.
Okay. So with that, I am going to let you go. I want to give you all a heads up to check your emails. We're going to be, well, the email with the link to this video is also going to have on it times and days for some Q&A sessions with your counselor. So myself, Molly Yasuda, Molly Baker, and Sheila Souter, we're all going to have Zoom meetings that you can jump into, and it's just a general question and answer for sophomores. So please take advantage of those. They're going to be during tutorials. And it's just an opportunity to jump in and ask some questions, and maybe somebody will ask a question that you've been curious about too. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of Lisa Newmeyer and the College and Career Center. But most importantly, have an awesome Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're all able to chill out and relax and just have some quiet time and come back and be nice and refreshed for the final stretch of this semester, which has been strange, but it's been what it's been. So look forward to seeing you all in person, and thanks for watching us.
Take care, everyone.